payshare.lacounty.gov. Additional LA County small business support and programs can be found at opportunity.lacounty.gov. Praying, advocating, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Share with you my story. Would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming, and I reap what I done sow. Well, let me tell you something. All that glitters ain't gold. It's been a long old troublesome road, and I'm looking for somebody come and help me carry this load.
KBLA Talk 1580. We all need a dollar or a million or so. And I'm joined in studio by someone who may be able to help you with that. He's an author and activist and a wealth coach. He knows a whole lot about debt and poverty and how it can derail your dreams, the dreams of people in these streets, working class folks growing up, submerged in the LA culture through the 90s and early 2000s. He said he was taught to buy first and then think about how to pay for it later. Found himself working day and night. And he has made it his mission to help others not get in that same keeping up with the Joneses situation. He's the founder of BrassKnuckleFinance.com. Jarim, Person-Lynn, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
You know, folks are, like Person-Lynn, they're used to hearing from Jaye. You know Jaye.
Yeah, we're very well known on both sides. The legal, political side, which is what he covers, and I cover the financial and wealth building side.
And you guys are related. Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah. So anyway, it's been a long time, but I always appreciated your approach to sort of making us more, not just financially literate, I feel like economically literate in a big picture sense.
That is exactly what my goal is. I always tell people I help black and brown people get to a place financially where they can make better decisions, not just financial, all-encompassing decisions. So you have to zoom out so you actually understand what the mission is. It's not just about, buying your dream house or getting a Range Rover. If you are in a position where you have to make a decision in life, you should be able to make that without any consequences to your immediate financial situation. You should be able to do that with, it's almost like going to the grocery store hungry. We want you to be in a position where you just have time to assess and don't just make reactionary decisions. So financially, that's what I try and help people do.
And we were talking off the air, you pointed out that because of the environment that we're in right now politically, it may have to shift some of the kinds of decisions and the mindset that we've had. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I deal with a lot of black and brown. 90% of my students are black and brown, and a good majority of them work for the government in various capacities. As we know, there's been a lot of talks of voluntary separation agreements being circulated and $25,000 to leave your job, which that money you'll never see. Let's just be clear.
You mean they're not going to really pay it?
It's been the people behind this have a history of not paying, and even if they do, we should assume that if that's not the case. So if you're going to go down this road of deciding whether or not to stay an employee or not, you should actually have the resources in your back pocket to make a better decision. If you are very strapped, you're going to just accept the buyout. You will never see that money, and then depending on what state you're in, you might not qualify for unemployment.
So it's just an out, not a buyout.
So
in other words, because you accepted a buyout, you don't qualify for unemployment.
Most of the time, there are fringe cases, but most of the time you don't. There's a lot of things. That's the reason why they're giving you a buyout. There's a lot of things that come with that they no longer have to abide by. So
fine print.
Yeah, the fine print. So I know it's a little late in the game to get people to where I would like them to be now, but as we move through this presidency, the hope is that we are stronger financially as we move forward.
Get them to where you want them to be now.
Yeah.
Debt-free?
Debt-free with at least, ideally, for me, you would be able to survive a year, right? Just without any income outside of your investment income, right? That would be ideally.
So that's what I call the FU account, which is, an account where that gives you the ability to leave a job and have some time. I had always heard 3 to 6 months. You would like us to have a year.
At this point, yes. I'm dealing with a lot of students who don't have, 15 days, right? We're getting paid by weekly, and that first check pays goes to servicing debt, and then the second check goes to rent for the month, right? So you just lose one of those checks, you're already flip-flop in the red. So yes, it's hard. I'm not going to pretend like this isn't a hard ask in this economy when inflation is up and all the expenses and what we're dealing with, unemployment is up. But as we progress, hopefully people take this and what happened with like the fires and all of this urgency into account and start to do better with their finances. Yeah.
So when you talk about inflation and the kinds of inflation, the fires, the moves being made by this administration that seem to be removing the social safety net, it feels pretty overwhelming. Where do we start?
Yeah, it's I've been sort of a pseudo psychologist. I started as a health coach, and I've become more of a psychologist
because everyone's freaking out.
Everyone's freaking. There's two things I want to kind of touch on right now. According to with that said, most people know what they need to do, right? Spend less than you earn, and at this point we know that investing is a big move after you get to that point. But most people are in either a psychological place where it's just hard to make that happen, or they're in a financial place where it's significantly hard. Like there's a lot of people who are high earned income earners who psychologically can't break away from that consumption side of things. And there's people who are low income earners who actually know that they don't want to go that route, but they just can't. They can't get their job. Unemployment is higher than what's being reported. So we're dealing with the psychology and the financial wherewithal. To answer your question, what we should do first of all is to understand that all things are temporary, right? I know this administration is trying to make permanent moves, but we just have to keep hope in what we do. And if we have a I'm gonna go run into a bunker and withdraw all my cash, that kind of mentality, then that you can kind of be controlled by that fear, and that's what they want to do. So
I know people, educated, smart people who are doing just that, selling off everything and moving to another country. You don't advise that.
I just came from an event. I've been outside. Like I've been trying to figure out where people's heads are at because I run a business around, current economic times and navigating people through that. So I was at an event on Tuesday, and it was a political event to figure out how to stand up to some of the things that we see. It was a 3-hour event. The first 30 minutes was all politics. The other 2.5 hours was all withdraw your cash, become a sovereign citizen, join, buy a bunker. It was panic. There's a lot of panic right now, and we can be controlled by that.
But is there, from your perspective as a scholar of the economy and best practices financially, is that justified?
I think that's a very good question. The things that if you would ask me what should people do right now, right? That's kind of like in that realm. I would say they should do what they should always be doing, which is decoupling themselves from having people control your outcome. So that means, right, like people, if you're going to be debt laden, you have all of your money tied up in credit card debt, car loans, and pay all that off, so you can be in a position where you're not where you're not beholden to making drastic decisions. So it's a thing. Yeah, you should be worried, but you should always be worried, right?
So pay down as much debt as you can, save as much as you can, like what you would always tell us.
Yeah.
Save as much as you can for that FU account, invest if you can.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, but everything's changed.
Right. But I think that's the thing. Most people know what they should do. They just don't do it. So I'm using this opportunity to remind you guys, like, hey, you've seen what's happened, right? You, if you buy a house before you can afford a house, now you have the option to make with in regards to fire insurance, right? So you're doing if you're doing things before you can afford them, you're going to make bad decisions. So now you don't have fire insurance, your house. Do the things that you always should have been doing, but using this climate to just propel you into doing that. That's why I'm out doing what I can to spread the word.
I know this sounds like doom and gloom, but I mean, folks are literally talking about civil war or seizures of houses or people being thrown into jail. So then if I have a house, do I lose everything? Would I be better off in Portugal, where so many Americans have run to, or somewhere in Africa?
I'm having those conversations daily.
Every day, right?
Every day. And the new place is it's, well, on this side of the world, it's Costa Rica, right? A lot of people are talking about
Portugal.
Portugal.
To be beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Portugal,
right. But on the
Belize,
right? Yeah, Belize. But on the African side, we're talking about South Africa. We're talking about Ghana.
Don't do South Africa. It's still an apartheid state.
Right.
Don't do it.
There's every day.
I
I'm
know
talking,
a lot of Americans, black Americans, go there. But anyway, you think our white people are racist? Check out their white people.
Yeah, their white people came over to
their white
Elon
people
Musk.
are Elon Musk, right? Exactly.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, and Ghana. I know people are talking about Ghana. Yeah. And what do you advise those folks?
If you want to do that, I be financially able to stay, right?
Yes.
Like if you want to do a 2-week vacation and come back to a bunch of credit card debt, I mean, like that's not. Why? What are we doing? If you want to permanently move, I'm going to help you get to a place where you can. Because you have to go out there without an income. I'm sorry, you have to go out there knowing that your income might be cut. So you should have a run rate so you can figure out how to earn money in that new location or some way on the internet or something. But you have to just assume that if you're working remote, a lot of people come to me about this while working remote. They're like, I can work in Ghana. Maybe, but they're cutting a lot of remote jobs or forcing people to come in. So if you want to go out there, to answer your question, if you want to go out there, just make sure you have a long-term approach to it, because you'll be right back, and I'll be helping you get out of credit card debt, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talking with Jarim, Person-Lynn, and we are talking about how to get our money right in tough times. You're welcome to call if you've got a question or comment, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. Who cares about the black community in Altadena? We do. On Saturday, March 8th at 10 a.m., it's the premiere of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This new weekly show will explore the deep roots and resilience of Altadena's black community as we track its recovery and reimagine its future. From relief efforts to rebuilding, we're raising up voices, stories, and solutions to build back black Altadena better and stronger than ever. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, every Saturday.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only on iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop. Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop. A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textline.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or apply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month. The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with. Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better. Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jarim Person-Lynn is my guest. It's been far too long, Jarim. You can find him at brassknucklefinance.com, brassknucklefinance.com. When you talk about your students, you are talking about everyday people who want to get their act together financially, right?
Yes, I typically deal with two types of people. Those who know who they are, know what they want. They've spoken with a financial advisor. They have goals. I act as an accountability coach for those people. That's what brings in the most revenue. Those people subsidize.
I might need to sign
right? Like, if you know what you want to do, just bring us your goals. We're going to make sure you do it. We're not your parent, but we are a non-biased third party.
We're not your parent. We're the person you actually listen to.
Exactly. So those people, that's one half of the group that I teach and manage, and then the other half don't know what they want. They have no idea how things work, and we give them the fundamentals, right? So they can one day get into a financial place so they can see a financial advisor.
Yeah, the basics. And honestly, I think, well, let me just ask it as a question rather than an opinion. How bad off are we as Americans in terms of what we know?
It's really bad. And I didn't realize I was that person, because that's how I'm a product of the financial collapse. I bought a house, didn't realize that no one else was putting a down payment around me. The house went from $600,000 to $220,000 in 8. So we all.
You lost a lot of money.
I didn't know how money worked. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. So I think you're supposed to put 20% down. My neighbor didn't put nothing down, right? 0 down, no doc loan. So it's like outside of the black community, we're not taught any of this in high school or anything. So, but to answer your question, in the black community, we know two things: hustle culture, which is income. Doesn't matter though.
Grinding all my life.
Grinding all my life. It does, but most people get to a point where they realize around the 30, 35 age range where it's like, oh shoot, I have been hustling. I have nothing to show for it, right?
Yeah.
And then other people who know just extreme frugality, right? Which it doesn't, like, if you still don't earn enough to make that work with things rising in cost. So those extremes I try to tackle. Yeah.
And I mean, look, when I bought my house, which was 25 years ago,
nice.
I forced myself to start reading the business page because I didn't know anything, and I still don't know that much, but talking to people like you and forcing myself to read the business page, and the great Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Waters, told me, if you read it and you don't understand it, read it again until you get it. She said, it might be badly written. It might just be that it didn't sink in. Just read it again until you get it.
Read it and apply it, right? That's what I would say. I think actually you make a very good point, because I think the way I've been able to progress financially is because of all the books I've written and all the classes I've taught. If you can read it and think about it, but then if you don't apply it in either teaching someone or in your day-to-day life, it doesn't really stick. But yeah, read it again, but also apply it. bfkuniversity.com. You got a lot on here. There's a page here, this is why you're broke, and you say there are 12 most dangerous areas of your financial life. Yeah, I always like to, because a lot of people the four I like to focus on because it can get a little overwhelming are what we call RCDF, right? Rent, car, debt, and food. A lot of people, whenever I tell people that, they're like, no, my kid is my most expensive. There's not a kid fee. I mean, child support is rarely more than your rent, right? There's those dues, right? But for the most part, you don't have a kid fee. That just exacerbates all the other.
Kids are hell of expensive, though.
But they
add to your rent, your car, your debt, and your food. Right.
Yeah, but that last one though, which was the fourth when I wrote that book, the food has become rent size. It is ridiculous right now how much people spend on food.
Yeah, well, and especially when you get into convenience culture, convenience junkie, and it's all about DoorDash or Uber Eats.
That is the bane of my existence. It really is. Yeah, because we don't own any equity stake in those companies. We go hard for car ownership in this city, and then we don't use them, right? Like the car is sitting outside. We're paying $35 for a $7 hamburger. Car is sitting outside. You're paying $900. You add it up. The average cost for a car in Los Angeles, with everything wrapped in, is like $900, $850 to $900. I wrote a book about it. You should read it. It's called Car Guide. If you have that outside, why are you paying $35 for convenience for a $7 burger with all the fees, right? So I'm dealing with that every week. People are
get in your $900 car and go get the burger.
You're in debt for just use the thing you bought, right?
Yeah, but I think one of the things I've learned is that all of these little things that I used to always say, it's not going to make me or break me, right? Whether it's the expensive Frappuccino or the DoorDash, I'm tired, I don't feel like going to get it, or whatever it is. Oh, it's not going to make me or break me. And what I learned to do was, add that up, annualize it.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. Yes, most people that I deal with think in terms of one step at a time, and typically that's what is my monthly payment. Even when we go to car dealerships, they want you to focus on monthly.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I try and get people to do that come through my program is to annualize everything. You should not do this. I'm going to tell you what I do. Do not do this until you're in a financial position. I pay everything up front for the year. Number one, it forces me to make smarter financial decisions.
Really?
Yeah. Your rent isn't $1,000, but let's just use that. If you sign up for something that you can't afford, it sounds good at $1,000, but does it sound good at $12,000 if you have to pay that? So you're going to force yourself to make a smarter decision if you have to look at it annualized.
So if your rent was $1,000, you'd give your landlord 12 G's and say, okay, talk to me next year.
12 G's and I would negotiate my rent, and that gives us power, right? But monthly, they know they got you. So every place I've ever rented, I've been able to negotiate because upfront,
Yeah. So annualize means add it up. If I'm spending $300 on DoorDash, that comes out to $3,600 a year.
And that's okay. So there's 2 points I want to make there. There's these incremental costs that we do, and then there's the monthly payments that we also do. I'm going to talk about the monthly payments first because that's actually higher, more detrimental right now than the incremental costs, like the Frappuccinos. Like that's expensive, but the stuff that we do monthly, that we sign ourselves up for monthly, whether it's we can even go back to cars, right? So think about if you have a $500 per month payment and they're presenting you this at a car dealership. Think about what that is for the year. Can you pay that for the year? Okay, maybe you can. Can you pay that for the duration of the term? Can you buy the car outright? Like you just gotta think about what the actual pain point is that gets you to make the smarter financial decision. Sometimes it's annualizing. Sometimes it's how much does this cost in an aggregate.
Right, over the course of the loan.
Monthly payments really get people. So annualize those, but to go back to your original point about the incremental, the daily this and that, somebody has to hold you accountable. I've learned that I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but when you've worked your 8-10 hour shift and you come home and you're exhausted, nothing I can do at 9 a.m. you're gonna remember at 10 p.m. unless somebody is within your circle, either it's you hired an accountability coach or your significant other, because we're doing a lot of stuff alone. Somebody has to hold you accountable and say, look, we talked about this, you promised this, don't do it. We just don't have enough willpower alone, and I don't think we should do a lot of stuff alone.
Yeah. So if we want to sign up to be to have you as our accountability coach or someone from your organization, what would we do?
Yeah, we have a team of 7 right now. We are slammed because of in every start of the year, we just have a lot of influx of clients. We're full right now, but over the course of the next few months, we should have some spots open. Go to BKF Boy King Finance. I'm just saying how it sounds.
BKF Finance.
BKFuniversity.com. And there's a program called the Winner Circle. So we are trying to help you win at this financial game. And sign up. There's a waiting list, and you will be asked to read the book, which is Brass Knuckle Finance. If you have not read that book, it's not going to be a lot of the stuff that we teach or try and get you to understand is probably going to fall on deaf ears. So foundational, read the book, sign up for the waiting list, and then we'll contact you when we have some openings.
When it's your turn. Yeah. You also mentioned another book, but you said it really quick, so I want you to state that again about the cars.
Yeah, it's called The Car God, and so we talked about RCDF, which is rent, car, debt, and food. When I started this journey helping people learn about their finances, rent was an issue, but car had quickly become an issue around the 2010, 2012 when I started this. So I wrote a book called The Car Guide to help to at least tackle that second highest cost in people's lives. And what I saw going to these car dealerships with people, they are getting taken every time. It's like, in women, oh my God, they just prey on them. So the book was written to help people at least tackle that second most highest expense in their life. Yeah.
Talking with Jarim Person-Lynn. You're welcome to call 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The House passed the GOP's budget resolution 217 to 215, but Thomas Massie is the only Republican voting against it. Some Republicans had concerns about cuts to social programs, but still voted for it. The Senate has a different resolution focused on border security and defense. A new Trump policy requires undocumented immigrants ages 14 plus to register with the government or face fines and imprisonment. Those who comply will avoid charges and get help returning home with a chance to return legally. The measles outbreak in Texas has reached 124 cases, a 37% increase since Friday. The outbreak is centered in rural West Texas counties, which are hubs for the anti-vaccine movement. And rapper Jeezy is suing his former managers for allegedly cheating him out of earnings and obstructing access to his financial records. He seeks all related files and unspecified damages. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Love your baby's teeth. Before that first tooth, wipe their gums with a washcloth. When those first teeth come in, use a soft toothbrush and just a tidbit of toothpaste. And take them to the dentist by their first birthday. Learn more at loveyourbabysteeth.com. Brought to you by the LA County Department of Public Health.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a fun night for Luka Doncic against his former team, the Dallas Mavericks. In his first game against the Mavericks since he was traded to the Lakers on February 8th, Doncic had a triple-double in the Lakers' 107-99 victory at Crypto.com. Doncic finished with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. He also had 3 steals. LeBron had a productive game. He scored 16 of his 27 points in the fourth quarter and finished with 12 rebounds. The Lakers, fourth in the Western Conference, are 13-3 since January 21st and have won 4 straight. During a timeout in the first quarter last night, the Lakers staff played a video tribute of Anthony Davis on the Crypto.com scoreboard. Davis sat on the Mavericks bench in street clothes. AD is recovering from a strained abductor muscle. The Clippers are at Chicago tonight. They're trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone. I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or abacin-captic Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call the hotline number now, 800-652-1714. That's 800-652-1714. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-652-1714 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Broadcasting live from Lower Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed, man. I wish you guys could hear the behind-the-scenes conversation. It's quite interesting, but as is the on-the-mic conversation with Jarim Person-Lynn, author, activist, and wealth coach. So if we're not signed up with you, or we do sign up and we're on the waiting list still, you said the first thing we need to do is, take stock of where we are, and change our mindset.
Yes.
How did you change your mindset? I mean, you said you really had that keeping up with the Joneses attitude. You're from LA. This is a prestige city. I mean, I've driven around in hoopties for many years in the city, and people look at me with 3 eyes.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get from, you're a young guy, flossy.
Yeah, I actually did I'm not plugging anyone, but I did a TED Talk, and the first thing that I said in that is the pain of staying the same has to outweigh the pain of change, because if you don't, everything's going to be in theory. So for me, I'm a product of the financial collapse. I was in the entertainment industry like yourself. I was in the music business, and everything had to be flashy. I had to have all the latest cars, and then I got a house and thought I was going to entertain and all that. And everything I thought was going to happen completely did a 180, and I lost all of that. So that pain, which was extreme depression, by the way, let's just be clear, that it took that to get out of that, right? I don't think a lot of people are going to ever get there unless they experience enough pain of staying the same that outweighs the pain of change.
I hate that so much. I don't want to experience the pain of staying the same.
Yeah.
My friend Marie Deary's got me on this pay-as-you-go mindset, where if I can't save up for it and buy it, I don't get it. Of course, that doesn't apply to a house or a car, but everything else.
Yeah, no, I love that. And just to be clear, I did apply that in my own life, and my immediate circle 2 houses and cars. I am completely 100% debt free. I have a group of people that we started with these little 1-bedroom condos in the valley. We started buying real estate together as a REIT. We can talk about that if we have time, but and we do everything without the bank's involvement, because the same way I'm able to get on the air right now and give you the real, like there's nothing you can't ask me. I'm not beholden to any banks, any sponsor, any of that. I am completely self-sufficient. So that was always a sticking point for me. So I do everything without someone's hand in my pocket. It's all of art. It's just teamwork. Black and brown.
So you have no debt on your home?
Zero.
Woo!
I do not play with debt. I learned that in the financial collapse.
At all? Zero debt?
I do. There's everything. I pay everything that is not debt, right? Just monthly
utilities and stuff like that.
One upfront for the year, 12 months, right? Everything else I buy outright. So electric vehicle I drive right now, buy outright. Everything is just actualize what the total expenses is. Think about, do I want to pay for that? Because that's a big thing. That's for the last year. I've gone through a lot of potential car purchases, and I just did not want to pay. I almost bought a Tesla before Elon Musk started acting crazy.
You dodged a bullet.
Did not want to pay. You're right. It just was too expensive. So I was like, all right. So for this, yeah.
So, but when you talk about cars, you say when you drive it off the lot, it depreciates so much, and cash is king. So why would you give all of your cash to buy a car outright?
No, that's a very good point. I actually do not like car. I've gone through that phase of all the fancy cars and all that. That took so much wealth from my investment ability and all that. I got to a point where it's like, this isn't worth it. So I started Ubering and doing the non-car thing. I made a lot. I know we're in a different. A lot of people aren't, but last year was a really good year. I had to take a tax deduction, so I did the full purchase, took a tax deduction, and this car I'm probably not going to be in it in the next 4 months. So it was just a tax deduction. But yeah, that's my personal.
Uber has gone up though too. I mean, Uber and Lyft used to be affordable. Now you do that, that's going to take a bite out of your budget too.
Yeah, if you annualize it, if you take the monthly total cost for what you're likely going to do with Uber, if you live in a radius where you work and play, right, like not Bakersfield to LA, right? That's not what I'm talking about. It's cheaper. It is literally, I've done this calculation for a lot of my students. It's cheaper than owning the average car, which is the recent model sedan in LA. If you average out the parking tickets, the annual registration, repairs, maintenance, oil changes, the dents and dings, every time you go to Target, somebody's not in, you gotta, you're throwing away, you gotta pay the guy $200 to come out. All that annual actualizes about $850 to $900 per month. So you look at what my students are spending on Uber and Lyft, it's about $400 to $450. A lot of people are like, I can get a car now for $350. Take the total cost you're spending on your car, and it's cheaper. Trust me.
Interesting. Interesting way of looking at things. Okay, so changing the mindset, you said we got to feel the pain. Either that or we're just going to have to just get enlightened some kind of way.
Yeah, you got to feel the pain, and then part of that feeling the pain is like you mentioned, is taking stock in what you're doing. So the first thing I do with my students is figure out what they've experienced, so then I can kind of tease out the things that they already know. Like you said, this happened to you, right? You filed for, and then you're doing the same things. So I want to figure out, you're going down the same road. So we look at their expenses and we say, okay, so you're at the Gucci store every week. This is how you got to this point in the first part. So taking stock, doing a budget. We used to use Mint, an app called Mint. Sadly, that shut down. We use an app called Empower right now. So we plug all of your finances, your spending in there, and then we just take a real hard look at what you're doing, not just the top line, granularly, and we try and find the point of where we can influence you to change, so we can change. Yeah.
And some folks are going to say, and by some folks I might mean me, I'm not going to say, I'm going to say but I don't want to live like a terrible, boring life where I have to live on rice and beans and I can't get my nails did and all that stuff. Yeah, so what do you say to those folks? You don't want the quality of life part.
Yeah, so I don't want to understate how important that point is to make, because when I started this, most people the economy collapsed, most people were okay with that. We were like, all right, everything. No, there's no jobs. We're gonna all cut back. As the economy grew again, people were like, I don't really want to live like a miser or whatever.
Right.
So for my approach has been, okay, I'm gonna show you what I've done. So for 15 years, my goal was to retire early, so I don't have to be beholden to anybody F you money, right? Right now, if you're not there. Most people are not there, but when you do get there, you'll understand that what we're talking about, living frugally, is just temporary. Right now, I spent all 2024 traveling. When you do the things that you're supposed to do over a short, medium, intermediate term, or long term, you're going to get the results that you've worked hard for. But if you don't do it at all, you're always going to stay in the same position.
So it's get out of the hamster wheel. When we come forward, actually, I think I have time to ask you right now. Jerry Anderson wants to know about people's relationship with their money.
Yeah, I always struggle with that because people have relationships. You have relationships with ideas, but money's a tool, right? So it's not so much of a reciprocal relationship. You're like, right? Like, we're not dating, but
I'm not going to love you back.
Yeah, exactly. But I understand the question. I think it's more so the mindset of it's figuring out who you are. Like, that's one of the hardest things for the people that come into my program to understand. They want me to tell them who they are. If you figure out who you are, then your quote-unquote relationship with money will work itself out. You're going to use it as a tool. If you say, I don't want to work in, I don't want to be beholden to these crazy government policies for my job. I want to not have to do that in 15 years, whether I decide to do it. I just don't want to have to. I want to be free from that. Then we know what your next 5 moves are, and then you could plan accordingly. But if you don't know, then you're just like, well, I think I need to invest, right? Okay, so you start investing. When things go bad, you're like, I don't really need to invest, do I? You need a North Star is what I'm saying, right? So you got to know who you are and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I do think that as black folks, a lot of us have a sort of a shame relationship, a shame-based relationship with money, buying things to make us seem more powerful, more successful, bigger, and then being too afraid to take risks or even do bankruptcy when it is warranted because of this shame-based kind of relationship instead of playing the game, which has rules. And Trump is not my role model for anything, but he declared bankruptcy 7 times and he's president. If we declared bankruptcy 7 times, we probably would, beat ourselves up to the point where we wouldn't even think about working for Target, let alone being president of the United States. And so I think that, looking at it as you said, as a tool rather than some kind of a girlfriend or daddy would be a good place to start.
But you bring up a very good point. The first part about I want to touch on is that Trump has filed for bankruptcy through his corporations, never personal. So I'm a big proponent of filing for Chapter 7 when you're in that position, which means that your total debt, add up all your debt, and if it's over or around your annual income, you're technically bankrupt. If it's half, you should start thinking about bankruptcy, because why are you kicking the can down the road to do what you're going to do anyway? You're going to live bankrupt, so just file. I'm a big proponent of bankruptcy.
I mean, even as one bankruptcy attorney told me, that formula may change a little bit as you get older. If you're 55 and you half your annual income in debt, you may need to file a little faster than if you're 35 and you have that formula.
Yeah, that's because I'm dealing with, as my audience gets older, we're dealing with a lot of our parents who are getting older, and our parents are in positions where it's an urgency. They're in a place where they can't really recover like we can. Like, I can file for bankruptcy at 25 and I'll be okay, right? Doing it at like 60, 55, 60, it's one of those things where I'm still struggling with how to approach it. But in general, my audience is about 35 to 40. if someone was 55 and came to me, we would have to do very like a custom approach because it's not a blanket.
No doubt. Yeah. Well, it's a great conversation, and we will continue when we come forward with Jarim Person-Lynn, Brass Knuckle Finance University on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shaped Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop. A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
There's new reaction following the Trump administration's sweeping efforts to cut the federal workforce.
Fired but not forgotten. The Testimony Project. Bearing witness, breaking silence, building community. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to amplifying the voices of Black federal workers impacted by the mass firings. Rooted in the Black tradition of testimony, this initiative ensures that those who served us are not erased from history. Through first-hand accounts, investigative storytelling, and community-driven dialogue, we intend to expose injustice, preserve truth, and demand accountability. If you or someone you know has been forced out of federal employment due to the mass firings, please contact us at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or via the open mic feature on the KBLA 1580 app. We want to hear from you and share your story. KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Jarim Person-Lynn is my guest, Brass Knuckle Finance. And I'm laughing because they're calling you, they're saying you remind them, in the chat, they're saying you remind them of the leader of Burkina Faso, and that you are trying to become completely independent from the banks and financial systems and have your own way of doing things. You said you were talking about those are investment groups around real estate, correct?
Yeah, and just to be clear, I play like Nipsey, right? All money in, right? Like I play in both. I play in both fields. I want to be free from having to, but I'm also understanding that we are in this economic capitalistic society, and I want to play that. I want to win that game too, but I don't want to have to make any decisions because, you know. So yes, we have investment groups. I encourage everyone to build their own investment group. And whenever I go on to do a talk and I talk about investing, they're like, I always get 10 people that show up after, and they're like, can I join your investment group? I always tell them that's how people get scammed, right? Like there's a lot of, I'm not going to name any Jay Morrison. There's a lot of Tulsa real estate. You know, I'm just saying that if you go to other people's investment groups, there's a lot of potential to be taken. Now, if you build your own from around your people that you've known for 10, 15 years, then you collectively can start something that is free from outside influence from people you don't know what their motives are. So that's what I did. I built from Cal State Northridge classmates, master's program. We just put everybody into a group chat and then decided during the financial collapse that we didn't want to be beholden to the banks anymore, even though we own equity shares in most of the banks, right? Like, you know?
Yeah, so then, is that your ultimate goal is we should own our homes outright, own our cars outright, own everything outright, have no debt at all?
No, because then I get poorer, right? So I own a lot of the equity stakes in all these businesses, these banks and everything. Theoretically, yes, if everybody was to do that, I think the black community would be much stronger. But realistically, we know that there's going to be a portion of us that are doing what I'm doing, the top 10% or whatever. We're going to be free.
If that.
Yeah, if that. And then there's going to be another portion who are just consumer debt free, right? So they still have, like you said, the car, the house, right? And that's a strong position. Let me be clear. Just having a car loan and a mortgage, come on, like compared to most of my students, which are credit card, car loan, mortgage, student loans, the other student loans, right? Because they got now they got the kids in college in my age group. All the buy here, pay here stuff, all the firm and all the Klarna and all that, like that is most people. So if we're going to talk about like the subsets of the black community, just having a car loan and a mortgage, that's fine too. So not everybody has to do what I'm saying, but my group that wants to do it, and we're tired of being beholden to the banks, now teach people how to do it.
Yeah, B. Bell wants to know, do I need an LLC for investing?
So I want people to understand what investing is versus what starting a business is. If you're starting a business, which most people should understand that real estate typically involves starting a business. So you're active. It is not passive money when you're talking about rental properties, when you're talking about buying anything to put tenants in or Airbnb, anything you're doing in regards to real estate in that capacity is a business. So yes, that's a business around real estate. You should start it. I'm not going to make a blanket statement. Some should start S corps, some should have LLCs, but some sort of business entity to shield yourself from all of these slip and falls and people getting shot at your tenant properties. You should shield yourself and your group that comes together. Investing, which for my people means that you have whatever you're putting your money into, the outcome is irregardless of your actions. So if I buy stock in Apple, I can buy 1,000 iPhones or I can buy no iPhones. The value of my equity stake goes up regardless of my input. That's investing as we describe it. And there should be zero. there's not really a reason to start any additional complexities around that.
Right, but LLC in California going to cost you some money, so it better be worth it for you to do it. Don't just be doing it just to do it. Okay, we just have a few minutes left. Hopefully, I can lure you into coming back again sooner than years. It's been years since we last talked. What ought we be doing right now as regular people? Hopefully we all get to the level that you're at someday. But as regular people right now in this economy with this inflation and with what you see on the horizon politically, which seems to have a lot of financial implications, what ought the regular person be doing?
Just want to back up real quick. I just want to be very clear. Nothing I said about Jay Morrison or Tulsa real estate is a scam. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff that has happened around that makes you think you might want to take a step back and reevaluate certain things. Now, back to what you're saying, because we're on air. What you're saying right now, you should be doing what we teach people to always be doing, and that's building. first of all, your mindset, right? If you need a lot of things, you're going to buy a lot of things. If you need less, you're going to buy less. If you go to my social pages right now, you'll see a lot of talk about getting yourself into a place where you don't need as much stuff. You realize that all the clothes, all the cars, they're not going to change who you are. They're not going to make or break you. Mentally, we need to be less consumers in the Black community. Once you are able to stop buying so much stuff, and because nothing you do after that will matter if you're still buying a lot of stuff, then you take stock of where you're at, right? Like, you need less. You understand you have everything you need. Like, for the most part, you might get a blazer for work. Okay, fine. But right now, in this economy, when things are changing drastically, we can't just keep buying all this stuff and expecting to be free from what's happening next. We're going to be beholden to what's happening next. Right. You don't need as much stuff. You're good where you're at. Take stock of what you've already done. So focus on the present and take stock of the past, what you've already done. What is your debt level? How much do you owe on everything? Take a look at all of your interest rates, your balances, what you, if you've gotten those demand letters because you stopped paying on stuff, put all of that together so you can take a realistic picture of where you're at. And then make a plan to attack all of that stuff. I typically want people to look at their tax liens. Like if you have back taxes first, like that is something that's super hard to get out of without just paying it. So there's stuff that you can get out of without directly paying. That's a little harder. So take a look at back through child support. Take a look at back through taxes and student loans. Right? We were in a place where we were almost free from this under the Biden administration. They were trying. But now you got to pay those student loans again, right? So figure out, get those things current. You're not going to pay them off, and then go down the list down to the stuff that's also very hard to get rid of, which are the credit card debt, the car loans, and all that, and just make a plan to be able to get out of that soon. I want people to typically pay things off within 24 months. You can't do that, and it's going to take you years and years and years, and you're likely a candidate for one of the chapters of bankruptcy.
Okay. We're going to have to leave it there. Tavis Smiley is on deck, and he's up next with the full show. But Jarim, Person-Lynn, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully we'll do it again soon.
We will. Thank you so much for having me.
Feeling inspired about this money. You guys know that you can tap in with me on all the social medias. I'm at DiPrima Radio, and we're at KBLA 1580 everywhere. Jarim is at BrassKnuckleFinance.com. Like my mother used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, be smart, be well, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The House passed the GOP's budget resolution 217 to 215, but Thomas Massey is the only Republican voting against it. Some Republicans had concerns about cuts to social programs.